Hi, visionary family, and welcome back to another live with Lady Visionary. Hope you guys are all well. Welcome, 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 welcome to you all. Today, we're about to discuss a very interesting topic, a very much needed topic. Why do Black people remain poor? The causes and solutions. Now, it will take us a bit of time just to get into the topic as I wait for others to join, but this is a very much needed topic. It's very necessary. So I just really want to hear from everyone today on this topic. Why do Black people remain poor? The causes and solutions. As you're all coming in, welcome, welcome, welcome. Let me know where you're listening in from. Just type in the comment section. I really want it to be an interactive session. I really want people to engage. I'm also going to send out the link so you guys can call in and just shed your opinions on the topic, to just give your analysis on the topic, which is on the screen. Um, Please do feel free to, when I share the link, sorry, to come in and talk to us. We really want to hear from you regarding this topic. Now, there will be a delay as we're waiting for others to join. And, those of you who'll be listening afterwards, as I said, there will be a delay. So do be patient with us here as we wait for more people to join before we start the conversation. Actually, I just want to take this moment while we're waiting for others to join, to just talk about our different things here that's happening on the channel, different initiatives. I really just want to talk about the Africa Rising funds, and I've spoken about that numerous times on the channel. So that's an initiative which I've launched that will launch properly in in February 2021, that will launch in Rwanda. So this is where we are supporting young people within rural settings in Rwanda, young people who wouldn't otherwise get the opportunity in terms of investments. So they basically come, they pitch their business ideas to us, and we basically give them between £200 and £1,000 to help them on their journey, and to help them to increase their livelihoods. I find that initiatives mainly focus on young people in like the cities, but it's always the young people in the sort of rural areas that get left out. So my program specifically, the Africa Rising Investment Funds, is targeting young people in rural areas of Rwanda. So that's where we want to start, and we hope that the project can expand in the future. But as I said, we're starting with Rwanda, and we'll see how it goes. So welcome, welcome. We've got ATM Tim in the building. We've got the Homegirl Healer. We've got Africa in the building. Thank you guys so much for joining us here. Do prepare to be to engage with the topic. Do be prepared to call in. I really want to hear from every single one of you regarding this topic. So please don't shy away from bringing your analysis and bringing your opinion on the topic. This is a very much needed topic. As I mentioned, we can't shy away from the issues. I believe that we have to not only talk about the problems, but I really want us to also think about the solutions going forward, because a lot of the times I find that we talk about the problems within the Black community, the problems amongst us, but what are some of the solutions? And I really want to urge everyone here today that having this conversation, it's not just about having this conversation, but how we can also implement it. So it's all about implementation as well. So I really want everybody to take away something from this, and it's not just a live show and we just talk and that's it. So I am going to just ask you guys as well, if you could just share out this, take a moment just to share the stream so that other people can come in, other people can join. I know obviously when we finish this live, many people will listen to it, but also I want people to also engage with the topic. So if you can take a moment just to share via maybe your Facebook or your WhatsApp or Instagram, whichever means you have, just share the stream out there as we wait as well for more of us to join the live stream. As it says, well, I'm welcoming every single one of you for taking the time out to to just be here, because obviously you guys could be somewhere else, but you're here and you're here supporting me on this topic. So I really, really appreciate that. I also want to say that everyone in here as well, as I said, you can support the Africa Rising Investment Funds. We have also got a GoFundMe page, so you can support us via our GoFundMe page, or you can support via PayPal. So it's a really needed initiative. I've been on the ground in Rwanda, and I've always connected with the people at the rural level. So I know that there's so many young people who would benefit from this initiative. So please, please, please support the young people. It's very much needed. As we're, more of you are joining, welcome, welcome, welcome. The topic here today is, why do Black people remain poor? We're looking at the causes as well as the solutions, okay? The causes as well as the solutions. So I'm hoping that you guys will not just focus on the causes, but also, what solutions do you guys have to offer, that would really help the Black community with regards to moving forward. So we're just about to start in a minute. Let's just see what you guys are saying in the comment section. We've got some new viewers here, so welcome, welcome. Really appreciate you being here. The homegirl healer is saying that she will definitely contribute. So as I said earlier, guys, please do be prepared to come in and speak to us with regards to this topic. Prince Smith is saying first time tuning in. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the visionary family. You're welcome. Please, if you've not subscribed, if any viewers have not subscribed to the channel, please do go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Much appreciated. And don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up, guys. Support the stream by just giving it a thumbs up. That's, again, that's appreciated. So I think we can start now. I think we can start, okay? So this topic was, it's been on my mind for quite a while now, and I've just been thinking about, whether I wanted to address it here on the channel, and, what everybody would have to say regarding this particular topic. And I made the decision because there was this burning desire, this burning sensation, I guess, within me to actually discuss this particular issue. More of us are joining. Thank you guys so much for joining the stream today. Really appreciating every single one of you being here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So as I was saying, this topic, why do Black people remain poor? The causes and solutions, right? Because I feel like a lot of the times we talk about, we talk about the systemic issues within our society that basically suppress Black people from progressing. We know historically that slavery has played its part. We know that there are so many pre-existing issues today that's affecting the Black community. Some people will, when you talk about, for example, slavery, some people will say like, that's happened in the past, we need to move forwards. and some people are like, no, we need to address it and we need to bring it to the forefront. And you have issues around the fact that people bring the argument of victimology, which is like, oh, we indulge the black community indulge in the fact that they're the victims, and they relate it to slavery, and that we just indulge in that whole mindset, and we just need to move forward. So I want to hear from you guys out there. What do you think about this particular topic, and what do you have to contribute? I am going to send out the link right now, so I would love to hear from each and every one of you. Let's see. So I'm just sending out the link now. So please just feel free to click on the link and share your views regarding this particular question. Why do Black people remain poor? What's going on? How can we as a people progress? Because when you look at like the statistics in terms of wealth, Black people, we don't own much. There's arguments to say that actually Black people would rather look rich than actually be rich. So what is that about? How can us as a community begin to build wealth? We look at other races and how they have managed to come together and build wealth amongst their community. And there's this argument out there that Black people or the Black community, we're very much divided, and so we need that unification if we're going to progress and bring about change for not just for today but generations to come. So really want to hear from you guys. We're just going to bring comment up here. Jay Bright is saying, move on from slavery. Okay, white people, then get out of the way. You're always in the way. Okay, just want you to expand on your point. As I said, I've sent out the link. Those of you who want to come in and just shed your opinion regarding this particular topic, please do go ahead. So, as Black people, sort of my concern really is we still have that issue regarding unification, and obviously things are changing. Things are definitely changing. We're now seeing, the Black community coming together, but I almost feel like there's still a long way to go. There's still so much that we need to do, and still you do have Black people within our community that focus mainly on the problems and not the solutions. So even here on the channel, people will come with that we can't do anything about it. This is just the way it is, and should we really have that mindset of just accepting that, this is it. There's nothing that we can do. Actually, slavery has impacted us in this particular way, and there's no way as a Black community we can come away from this. And there's this argument about the fact that we're just waiting for reparations. They haven't given us reparations then. They haven't given us it now. So what's going to be the solutions going forward? Will we live to see reparations being given within our lifetime? Is that what we're waiting for, or is it that something else needs to happen? Because I feel like instead of waiting and saying reparations, and this is what we've been through as a community, and I feel like we're giving the oppressors too much power, and we need to start taking back that power, because I feel like as a community, we don't sometimes realize just how powerful we are. And a lot of the times when we as a community, we have complained about so many things in the past, actually, we have given the oppressors the ammunition against us. And so, as I said, it's time that we started to reverse things. Some people will say, actually, excuse me, some people will say there are systems in place that affect the Black community going forward. But, excuse me, guys, my throat, sorry. You know, as I said, there will be people who say that there are systems in place that affects the Black community and we can't move forward as a result. Is that the right mind frame to have? Because I know that there has been barriers in my way, but I've basically just tried to push past those barriers and be the best that I can be. And I feel like the Black community have a huge, huge potential, but sometimes we don't recognize that. We don't recognize the power that lies within us, and we don't recognize the greatness and how, you know, how far we can be in terms of our achievements if we just recognize, and if we just pull together, if we just unite, if we stop the foolishness. Because a lot of the times we bring about foolish arguments with each other that's not progressive. And so I feel like it's time for us to lay all of that aside, unite, sit down at the table and say, how can we progress? We understand that we've been through so much. We understand that there's been so many things that's been in our way. But how do we tackle those issues face to face? How do we push forward? Are we just going to lay on our backs and just take it as it is? Just say, you know what, there's nothing that we can do. That's it. What about the generations to come? Because the way that I think about it is that our ancestors, they could have just been like, you know what, that's it. We felt like we failed. There's nothing that we can do. But they fought. Like our women, our men were raped, abused, tortured, thrown in the sea overboard. So many atrocities happened to our ancestors, but still they chose to fight the good fight for us to be even where we are today. And sometimes I think, like, if, you know, our ancestors looking at us today, like, what would they think? Because there's been so much work that's been put in for us to be where we are today. Would our ancestors be proud of us, or will they be just shaking their heads like, what went wrong? What would they say to us today? I've been talking so much, so I just want to see what you're all saying before I bring in the homegirl healer. Welcome to everybody that's watching here today. Thank you so much for joining the live. I really appreciate that. London to Africa is saying mostly Black people don't like to take risks. Black people don't support each other as they should. Yes, we don't support each other as we should. There's a massive problem with regards to unification amongst the Black community. And we keep talking about unification, but not enough is being done for us to move forward. Okay, I'm going to bring in the homegirl healer now. So let's hear what the homegirl healer has to say. Welcome, the homegirl healer. Welcome.
Hey, Lady Visionary. Thank you so much. Hey, family in the chat. How y'all doing? So my thoughts about this. This is such an interesting topic, and one that I've been pondering all day. In light of the photograph of the Chinese man being becoming a chief in Ghana. Ooh, I've been worn out all day. It's been kind of stressful to me, and so I think one of the things that I have been thinking about is one that there's clearly a disconnect between us and our history, a disconnect between us and our spirituality. And all of that to me says that there is an issue with our mindset. And so one of the things I was thinking about was how do we approach education, for example, from a perspective that is African centered, that is Pan African, that is actually reconnecting us to these sources. I think that a lot of us remain poor because we have a poverty mindset. You made a really good point when you were saying that some Black people would rather look rich than actually be rich. And we're always thinking about like our image and how we look on the outside. And what do we have to show for it? Like we have nice purses, but how much money do we have in those purses?
Correct.
We just really have a poverty mindset. And I think one of the things that contributes to that is that religion, we tithe to a church, and I'm not making a judgment, like, I'm not making a judgment about that, but it's just, I think we're constantly looking, like thinking that we have to do these things or look a certain way to be respected and accepted. And I think that we just have not realized that history has shown us that in the eyes of the oppressor, that's not going to be the case. We're not going to be their equal. So spending our money wearing the things that they tell us make us worthy, even though they don't, we're putting that money back into their pockets, but not into our own communities. I really would like to see more investment groups, people, like-minded people coming together and forming investment groups. I want to know more about that. That's why I'm so excited about what you're doing, because I think that that really is one of the ways that we can activate. We need to start to get more financially solid and stable and aware as Black people so that we can keep up with what's going on. We need to understand that the way that we get money is not just by being in entertainment. We need to be looking at agriculture.
That's
We
right.
need to be looking at technology. We need to be looking at all of the things. Like, we should not be trying to emulate the West. We shouldn't be trying to emulate white people, or we shouldn't be trying to emulate China, but we should be looking at what they are looking at on the continent. And our approaches should be in alignment. Like, we should be working to put the structure and infrastructure in place ourselves. We need to see Africa and ourselves as valuable. We need to see ourselves as the original people, as the gods and goddesses that we are. We really need to reconnect to our power. So we have a poverty mindset, and that literally permeates how we show up in the world. And that is what I have to say.
Thank you. The homegirl healer has spoken, and just like what you said regarding us, like I said about look, we rather look good than and look rich than to actually be rich, and even
Mm-hmm.
about how we spend our money.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like, the oppressors are very much aware of how we spend our money,
Mm-hmm.
and they know how to make more money off us, you know. And
Absolutely.
I thought to myself, you know what, I'm going to come to this live chat prepared, and I've got some figures here actually, and it's around the Black impact, and like our spend is it our spending power, like how much money we actually spend. I've got it in America. We're actually worth 1.2 trillion. This is African Americans, you know.
And
Um,
we are the trendsetters. We don't realize as Black, like my husband says this to me all the time. He was like, literally, Black people are the trendsetters. Like, they literally are the soul and the style and the drip of like of humanity. It literally all comes from us, and we let them repackage it and sell it to us. We hesitate. There are a lot of like Black brands who are up and coming, but we don't trust them. But like, I don't know how many people are on Facebook, but I know that especially in the wake of George Floyd, there have been a lot of like Black focused brands popping, like apparel brands popping up, and some of these are Black owned and some of these are not. And
mhm.
people are not even doing their due diligence. You are buying pro Black stuff from people who are not even Black. That's why we remain poor, because we don't do our due diligence.
It's so sad because a lot of organizations are positioning themselves, and they're like, yeah, like Black Lives Matter, and it's all it's all fake. Let's just be
Mm-hmm.
honest. They're,
Mm-hmm.
they're
I
scared
agree.
about they're scared about losing money from us because they know how much the Black community spend, how much money we give our oppressors. It's ridiculous. $1.2 trillion from African Americans, 300 million pounds in the UK. It's just like, wow, if the Black community really come together and pull all that money together, like what are the things that we can actually achieve? It's like, wow, and these, I actually looked at studies because these people are actually studying us and actually come up with
Mm-hmm.
figures.
They are. They
And
are.
literally, it's like they said, you know, the Black community, we overspend on unnecessary things. Like they're like personal soaps and bath needs, $573 million annually. Feminine hygiene, $54 million annually. Men toiletries, the Black community spending 61 million. Luxury non-essential item. Women were spending so much on fragrance, 151 million. Watches and other pieces, 60 million. Children's fragrances, 4 million. I just can't. I just can't. I'm like, where are we going wrong? Why isn't what's wrong with our mindset? We need to wake up. We need to become like, we need to come to that level of consciousness.
So first of all, I'm taken aback and aghast at all those numbers that you just threw out there. Even though, like, I'm not surprised by that, but damn, like, that's really overwhelming to hear and to take in. And imagine, like, to me, if we were buying all those things because I am one, like, I love perfume, I love those kind of things. If we were spending that money with Black companies, I would have no problem with that. I would have no problem, and they exist. My best friend has her own product line. I know other, like, there are people who have these things who are Black, and we can be supporting them. But we need to look, and we need to be, and this is another thing, like that poverty mindset. We always want to nickel and dime people, especially the people who look like us. You are never going to go into any white establishment and be like, okay, well, can you give me a discount? You might, but you're not going to get that.
But we'll
But
say
we
to the we'll say to
Yes,
the Black business owner,
yes. Can I get a discount? I will never forget one time I had posted about an event I was doing, and somebody in the comments said, "Where is the coupon code?" Girl, there is no coupon code. Pay me or don't come. And it's just like, and we do that to each other all the time. And that's why we rather spend our money with people who don't care anything about us. When, like, all of this stuff was happening with George Floyd, all of these companies were putting out their little social media posts. We stand with Black Lives Matter. But guess what? A lot of those people are probably treating their Black employees like trash.
that's correct.
You care so much about Black Lives Matter. Like, I'm not going to say, like, I work for a nonprofit that does like national work, and we are having to go through a lot as Black people, especially Black women in that workplace. And this is a feminist leaning organization. And I don't identify as feminist, but I'm out here trying to get my paper to invest in the stuff I'm trying to do with my business and in Africa. But we have, like, they don't even treat their people good. All of this stuff is performative. And just because somebody makes a post and they put it a Black background with white text and they put up a little fist, like, oh yeah, we're going to support them. Why? Support the people who look like you. And that's not to say that as Black business owners, some of us don't need to come higher with our customer service. We absolutely do. But literally, we get bad customer service from everywhere.
Exactly. And that was an argument someone even brought to me, that, oh, the Black community, the attitude is so bad, and the customer service. But actually, as you rightfully said, you can get bad customer service anywhere. So that to me was redundant. That point was just absolutely redundant. And it's so sad. I read, as I was doing my research, because I was like, I want to come with figures, because I'm hearing how much the Black community spend, but I actually want to dig up the figures and actually see it for myself. And when I was reading it, it just broke my heart. It just
Mm-hmm.
broke
Mm-hmm.
my heart, because I'm like, just look at this. Look how much money we have, but we choose to put this in the hands of the oppressors. And if only we knew that we could come together and build something great for the future. Like, what is going on? Like, this needs to
Mm-hmm.
stop. And that's why I said, I need to bring this topic on the channel. And I'm not just, I don't want to have discussions for discussion's sake. And even this applies to me, is about how am I going to implement this? Because I want there to be a change for not only for myself, but also for generations to come. My children, I have 2 boys. So what is it going to take for us to actually take actions and move in the direction of bringing about change? Because we can't continue like this. And, you know, again, coming back to the fact that we don't support our own, like, you know, a Black business will come and say, you know, this is the service I'm offering. As you say, they'll be also asking for coupon codes. They'll be, you know, sometimes they're like, oh, I'm not going to pay that price for that. There was someone who, like, actually there was I think it was the Unapologetic Nomads who they put a video out on you know, they're in London right now and they were doing furniture shopping, and someone's like, oh, I'm not going to pay that price for Africa, like, this is Africa. And I'm like, what? Like, it doesn't
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous because we literally will accept the price. Like, it's an honor for us to be able to spend whatever ridiculous amount of money that some non-Black person has assigned to the shit that they trying to sell, as part of my language. It's an honor for us to spend it on that, but when it comes to spending with your own people, you have a problem with spending a little more. It's ridiculous. I have been like getting my nails done by Black nail techs for years now. I like realized a long time ago that like I just didn't like the service I used to receive when I would go to Asian salons. I felt like they would rush it. It just was not done right. It just will always be an issue. So I transitioned to Black nail techs. And I would never forget one of my very first Black nail techs. She had her own salon at the time, and it was in a Black neighborhood, which is where I lived. And I will never forget her telling me one day that people, number one, they were so used to seeing Asian women being the ones who do nails that they did not believe that she actually knew how to do nails. And she said that then people would take the designs that she did, and instead of just coming to her and paying her, they would take the designs and go to the Asian salons and ask them to do it. And of course, they don't care. They like, this design you want, they'll do it. No concern for the integrity of this woman's intellectual property, her hard work. And we are the ones that are doing it to ourselves. We need to understand the value of our dollars, and we need to understand the power that comes from gathering our dollars together and using them with one another. Like I was saying, how do we get into investment groups? And sometimes I think people are intimidated by the thought of an investment group because they think you have to have a whole lot of money to do it. How do we facilitate a situation where there is an easier entry point so that people can start to invest in things like agriculture, technology, infrastructure, those things in the diaspora? I mean, you know, on the continent at a low entry point so that they can be involved and feel like they are part of the process.
Yeah, I love that point you made. Like, people think that they need a lot of money to start investing. Actually, not at all. You know, you can invest with even as little as $50, depending on the sort of initiative that you put together. You know, I really want you to stay put. I don't want you to go anywhere because we still want to hear from you. We have the African Chronicles in the back, so we want to also bring him in and hear what he has to say regarding this topic. So please stay around for us.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. So welcome, the African Chronicles.
Welcome.
Good evening, ladies, and good evening to the chat. Thanks for having me.
Good evening and welcome. How are you?
I'm fine, pretty fine, thank you. What about you?
I'm good. I'm doing good. I'm doing well, thanks. So what do you have to say about this topic? Why do Black people remain poor? You know, a lot has been said. You know, the Homegirl Healer touched on so many valuable points today. You know, what is the problem and how can we solve this? And as I said to our viewers out there watching, I don't want just to be a discussion, but rather how can we implement this? You know, because a lot of discussions are always had about similar issues, but you know, how can we take something from this to implement in our everyday life and going forward? Because for me, I like, there's a popular saying as well, talk is cheap.
Indeed.
Okay.
Well, to put in place solutions, we need to understand the root cause on at least one of them. And it's been said, we're lacking a lot of stuff, but we need to understand that the cause is way older than we think. This is nothing new. I
Yeah.
tried to explain that in another channels later on, early on, but it seems some people get easily upset. They don't want to listen. They say, "Yeah, but it happened a long time ago. What about now?" So let me try. Let me dig it. First of all, it started years, decades, probably centuries ago. It's called divide and conquer. We've been raised that way, taught that way. And the problem is we keep reproducing the same mistakes over and over because we've been literally programmed this way. I mentioned a very interesting book called The Miseducation of the Negro. This is one of the problem. We've been raised and educated this way, and we're still reproducing the same mistake. That's one, the education. Two, one of the reason is I have an idea. Let me show you. That will be easier. One of the reasons why. This is an excellent book from Dr. Claude Anderson, Black Labor, White Wealth. This book explains one of the problem. Why are we so poor, and what the system were put in place in the United States, but not only, also in Europe, also in Africa. Why white people get all the credit and black people get nothing or the dust of it. So I recommend to read this book, Black Labor, White Wealth from Dr. Claude Anderson. It will explain everything to you. That's one of the reasons. Another reason, let me share you something quickly. I don't know if you can see this,
Oh yeah.
but you have to put it on
Oh,
on
added. Okay. Yes.
yeah. Here we are. So, very interested book called The Color of Money, Black Banks and the Racial Wealth Gap by Mirza Baradan. Sorry. This woman, she's from Iran. She's not black. She's not Caucasian. She's from Middle East. We may say so. And she studied the one of the problem, the system put in place to keep us low. This book is very interesting. So, guys, I
Wow.
advise you to read this book. You may have an idea of the problem, right? Okay. So take the time. The Color of the Money, Black Banks, and the Racial Gap, the Racial Wealth Gap, Mirza Baradaran. Sorry. Okay. I really strongly advise you to read this book. Now, I mentioned a couple of issues and the reason why we are still poor. So, what could be solutions now, right?
Correct.
Okay. Before we start doing anything, the first thing, in my opinion, to do is to change the mindset. Without the mindset, there is nothing you can do. Nothing. You can still try. It won't work because the mindset is not here. I heard earlier somebody said, oh, every time a black person goes to a black business and the black person is complaining, I'm not going to pay for this, give me a discount, blah, 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 blah. The mindset, because the same person will never do that to any kind of business. And this happens to the United States, to South America, in the Caribbean, even in Africa and in Europe. It happens everywhere. The same problems is on us everywhere we are. So the mindset, if you do not change the mindset with information and education, for example, it won't work. So let me show you something else.
I just want to pause you there. Okay, go on. Go on.
Unlimited Power, A Black Choice by Tony Robbins and Joseph McClendon. Very interesting book. How to Change the Mindset.
Oh,
Very,
wow.
very good book. Unlimited Power, A Black Choice. Tony Robbins. I advise you, take the time, check it out, buy it, read it. Very interesting. Change the mindset. Listen, let's say that, okay, you want to be an extremely good basketball player. That's your dream, but you don't train. How can you achieve the dream if you don't even train? You don't train. Well, I don't feel like it. I'll do it tomorrow. And the day after tomorrow, well, I'll do it tomorrow. And the day after tomorrow, well, I'll do it tomorrow. You keep postponing things because in here you're not ready. So you need to change your mindset, go to train, have the best diet, train and again, and then you may achieve your dream, become a good basketball player. So another solution possible. Yeah, I love books and advise people to read books. One of the mistakes we often do, Black people, we do not read enough. We do not seek for the information, and the information are in books most of the time. But no, we want to watch videos. You think that's easier, blah blah blah. No, we want the easy way. It won't work. Based on what? The mindset again. So let me show you another thing.
Wow.
Powernomics from Dr. Claude Anderson. One of the solutions is right here. And let me tell you one thing, another thing. We had the solution in the United States not so long ago. Let me refresh your memory, people. You do remember during the 20s, probably one of the worst moments in Black history in the United States, segregation, Jim Crow laws, and name it. And guess what? This is exactly the same moment Black people were the most wealthier in Black history. I mean, no, correction, in the US history. Black people used to own everything: public transport, school, grocery, cinemas, name it. They had everything. Why? White people told them, you cannot go in our neighborhood. It's forbidden. So black people had to find a way to survive. So they created everything. They created everything. And guess what happened? Jealous. White people destroyed everything. They throw it in jail. They throw it in concentration camp before Jews. That's something that we need to remember. And guess what? They destroyed it. And they gave us the illusion of the inclusion. Okay, now allow you to sit at the same table in the same restaurant that me as a white person, and we think this is a victory. We fought so hard to have the right to sit next to them, we forgot to keep and maintain our own businesses. And here we are today.
That's
Here
right.
we are
So
today.
on that point,
Yep.
where black people, they created this wealth within a particular region, and they came, the oppressors came and they destroyed all of that and disseminated everything. So people looking back can also say, like, we've been through this. If we try to build it, they're just going to tear it down. So they look at that as a barrier. What would you say to
Well, I'll say this. Another way to learn, like my father used to tell me, is to observe. Sometimes what you do, you copy the person succeeding, you just copy and you try to find your own path. So look around you. How do all the immigrants do? They buy stuff. You see, I live in Canada. Let me give you an example. There is a city, Toronto. In the north of Toronto, there is a small city called Richmond Hill. Asian bought everything: houses, apartments, business stores, everything. They have everything. They bought it. When you go, let's go now to the United States. You know those corner stores. Who own the corner stores? Arabs, Indians, well, immigrants. Black people, what do they have? Nothing. Let me refresh your memory one more time. Remember the movie Do the Right Thing with
yeah.
from okay. Remember the three old guys sitting in the corner complaining, and there is one guy say, you know what? Look at these Koreans. They come in here, they buy they store in our neighborhood, they sell stuff in our neighborhood. And one of the guys said, but won't you shut up? You sit here all day doing nothing. You keep complaining. You came out of the boat, you two. You're a goddamn immigrant. Just because you were born in here, you think you belong in here? No. Why don't you do like the Korean? Buy your stuff, open your business. But no, you sit here and complaining. So watch the other communities. They act, and they're immigrants just like us. They have no more right than us, but they organize.
People would say, like, a lot of the black community, we have that, that idea, that mentality that, these people are coming in and they own this and they own that. And we would just, we just complain. And you see, as you say, the Arabs, the Asians, they just go and they're like, we're just going to conquer this, and even you see, like, people complain about the Chinese in Africa and how they're on a mission. Let's just be honest. They're
Exactly.
on a mission, and we're just chilling. We're just chilling, just saying, yeah, the Chinese, they're doing this and that in Africa, but what are we doing? Are we just going to be the ones that complain from morning till night? and that's why we're not earning the respect that we deserve, because people are looking at us and thinking the Black community, look, they have so much money, they spend so much on things that doesn't even bring about wealth. And let's put out an advert to see how we can get more and more Black people, these stupid people, to spend and give and put money in our pockets so that we can build our wealth for generations to come.
And you know, the worst thing is they don't even hide it. I remember there is a documentary brought in the 50s, in the mid 50s in the United States, called "The Secret of Selling the Negro." They turn you into a consumer. Buy, buy, buy. Don't think, buy. The Secret of Selling to a Negro. You really need to watch this documentary. I guess you can find it on the web right now. And it teaches you the technique to sell to the Negroes. So be a consumer, be happy, and smile, and that's it. But don't be a producer. We handle it. So yeah, we've been taught again this way. We've been conditioned this way. We've been brainwashed this way. So to reverse this trend is going to take a lot of time, a lot of energy, a lot of education and information. And of course, we have to set example, because if we keep talking, say we should do this and do that, and nobody does anything, it won't change. We need to have, and you know the worst thing, we have example. Actually, we do. I don't know why we don't follow the footstep. Everybody wants to be a basketball player. Everybody wants to be a dancer. Everybody wants to be an athlete, but nobody wants to be an entrepreneur. And that's the problem. We think we have enough athletes and singers and rappers and dancers. It's okay to have them, don't get me wrong. But I'm quite sure we have enough of this, but we need more scientists, more entrepreneurs, more business owners. I think that's the money comes, and keep the money within the community.
I also want you to stay put as well. We're going to just bring in Mr. Hillary and see what he has to say, and then I've got another question for each of you. So let's just bring in Mr. Hillary and see what he has to say regarding the topic at hand. Hello and welcome, Mr. Hillary. How are you?
Good evening to you, Honorable Lady Visionary. Good evening to the brother on the panel and the Honorable Homegirl Heater. Good evening to you, sister.
Peace to you, Mr. Hillary.
I have a slightly divergent view to what the brother said. Now, what the brother said is correct, but he started his contribution talking about, he was on another stream, and our next panelist was telling him that he spends too much time talking about things and not talk about the solution. I will start by talking about the solution. For one, when this lockdown started, the whole world, in early April especially, I remember on a stream that this same brother was on as well with Wodemeyer. Wodemeyer did a stream, how can Africans unite around the world? And he was asking people from around the world to give their suggestions. Now, this brother said the same thing, obviously, with dealing with education. Most people said education, but others said economics. And many were disagreeing, saying it can't be about economics when the mind still is messed up. There was one sister from Nigeria on that same stream that Wodemeyer did that said the most powerful thing and the basic thing that everybody keep forgetting, which is, like I said, economics. How could you have people uniting when most people in Nigeria are poor? They don't have a meal. They cannot study.
Not sure what happened there, but can we hear from the homegirl healer regarding what he was saying?
So I think one of the things that I definitely want to agree with is that we have to understand that us being in the West, a lot of us have the luxury of having the internet so we can have this discourse. Like me, for example, I have a job where I can work from home. I don't even have to be out in this pandemic. And one of the things that we always have to think about is the conditions that other people are living in. And so I think that you can't just, it's easy for us to tell people to mobilize, but when you are hungry, you can't you don't function the same. And I will never forget, I used to work for an out of school time program. And one of the things that we were doing was literacy assessments, because we had a goal of making sure that all the kids were on reading level by the 3rd grade. And so there was this one little boy who was being tested, and he just could not focus during the testing. He just had a lot going on. He couldn't settle, and he didn't do well. What the person tested him realized is that he wasn't having breakfast before his parents weren't giving him breakfast before they dropped him off. And so we're trying to start things with him very early in the morning. And he hasn't even eaten yet. And the person who was assessing him, first of all, this is the person, it was a Black woman. And this is why we need more Black people in education who are focused on Pan-African education, because they pour into our kids a different way. They see our kids as complete people, and it guides how they educate them. But we'll set that aside. But she just made sure that whenever she would see him, she would give him, she would make sure he had some breakfast. His scores changed. He was more attentive, and he could focus because he was able to eat. When people can't eat, that is what they're going to be focusing on. They're going to hear the rumblings of their stomach before they hear the logic of what's happening. So before we can even get people to think about how to dismantle white supremacy in Africa, how do we get people to eat? I think that that's a problem. That's a big problem to solve, like all of the issues that we're trying to solve. But I think that if we can kind of understand that perspective, that will help us to think a little bit more of how we can help people to get out of the poverty mindset. We have to meet the needs of the people in order for them to have the power to affect change, I think.
No, definitely, I agree with the fact that, people's focus at a particular time, and if people are just thinking about how they can eat, they're thinking about the next day, how they're going to eat bread, how they're going to provide food on their table, then how can they even think about some of the bigger issues as well? It's just not going to be possible. And obviously also on the continent, that's a big problem. So
and I'm gonna say this really quick. I'm not saying that as an excuse. I'm just saying that as we figure out how to really address the causes and the solutions of why people remain poor, that is kind of the mindset that we need to be able to understand to help disseminate this information to the people who really need to hear it, so that they can be empowered to act. So that was why I was making that point, not to say that we should just rest on that.
No, it's a brilliant point. Let's hear from the African Chronicles. We do have some others in the background that we're going to bring in as well. Please bear with us. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, one of the things people may tend to forget is the solution, thinking that when we speak to one type of person. Of course, when I talk about reading, I talk to the person who are able to read, who work in the best condition possible. And even so, these people don't do it. Even so, these people do not practice community economics. Even so, in this condition, people are still complaining. We all have different roles in this community. Let me explain what I mean by that. If you own a business, your role as a business owner is to provide jobs to those who need the job. And those who have the job can eat properly. And when they eat properly, they will be able to listen to your speech and be able to apply the solution you explain to them. That's simple as that. Because as myself, I can sit here in my office where I am right now at home. I can talk as long as I want. I'm not talking to the one who's dying of starvation, because I cannot say, as a intelligent enough person, tell the person who's dying of starvation, you should read. That's not appropriate. I'm not talking to that person, and I'm not talking to that person. Yeah. It is not my role to talk to that person. The person who's supposed to talk to this person is the one who have the job opportunity. If I hold a business, I should give you the job to you because you're starving, and then you can eat. And then when you eat, your stomach is full. Now you can hear me out, not before. So every one of us has a role to play. That's my point.
I just want to say as well that there's so many solutions. It's multifaceted, isn't it?
Exactly.
So we're not just saying there's one issue here. It's not a single bullet solution, definitely not. That's why we're talking about the solutions, and we bring that all together to understand how we can move forward. So we understand that there's not just one solution. The problem is multifaceted, and there's so many solutions to address the situation with regards to why Black people remain poor. So I just want to bring in London to Africa in the stream. I believe that this is actually my husband, because he's not with me at the moment, but I think he also wants to contribute whilst he's away. So let's hear from London to Africa.
Hello, everybody. I'm so happy, to be honest, to hear what you guys are discussing. Is really interesting topic. I totally agree with one of everyone. Actually, you are talking sense here. For me, I think Black people community or Africans in general, we suffered a lot for long time, and there are a lot of many factors, including educational inequalities and many people, mostly in diaspora, Black people, they live bad neighborhood, and also they don't have like access to credits, or they suffer a lot. And this is not because we are not smart or we don't want to be rich. It's because of the history. Um, um, our parents, our great grandparents, they suffered a lot, so it's really difficult to catch up. But we can't always sit down, as you guys are saying, and you say, that's it, we are poor, we have the history of slavery or colonization in Africa, so that's it, we should sit down and that's it. So that's why I'm like, I'm pro people who are talking about other communities, from, for example, the Indians, the Asians, when they are here in Europe or America, they, as my brother was saying, they are buying the shops here in the UK. They can own the whole, literally whole street, and they help each other, they support each other. They don't say, that's it. Of course, Indians also, if you go to India, there are many people who are poor, but when they are here, for example, in diaspora, they support each other. I know, for example, I'm working in a health care settings. They support each other. They invite, for example, they support, if someone is consultant or doctors, they help the other doctors back home to join or to come here to register, and basically go find a good job and support the people back home. So basically, African people, they should really unite, work hard, and support each other. We here in Europe, we are like, oh, those are Black Americans, those are Caribbean or Africans, and that's it. We don't support each other, and we can even go to many shops, we buy from other people, and we forget that actually that little things. If you can go to your African shop or Black-owned business and you buy from them, even if they may not thank you, but at least you're contributing, because I know at the end of the day, if he's gonna be rich, he's gonna maybe help other brother or sister back home or in the community as whole. So I think we we are poor, we remain poor, not all everybody, but again, the role models, the people who are already made it, like in the cinema, in media, for example, in America, we know that people, they've been on top, but they are lacking that motivation of being example, of settings. Like, for example, I, I would love to see many people like Akon. Akon is working hard. Of course, he grew up in America. He's a Senegalese, but he's saying, you know what, I'm pushing hard. I'm going to China. I'm going to get credit. I'm going to build my own city. Of course, you can see the government like Senegalese government is supporting them, is supporting, I mean, him. They want to support. So we need role models like those people who made it, for example, from diaspora, to go back, for example, to Africa and do something. Because if they are, I was watching Odemaya, these brothers from America, from diaspora, they create a big hospital. They are working hard. That's a good example. So I think we're supposed to support each other and make sure that even if back home people are suffering and they have a less money and so on, but at least the little people who are educated, as my brother is saying, education is the key. But slowly we can support each other and build something. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Patrick. Do stay in with us. We're just going to hear from Mr. Hillary now, please.
Oh, good evening again. My connection dropped off. The solution I would bring, right? Now, one of the issues that our people have, let's say for Africa, for example, they don't have land. Well, since I'm a businessman, I plan to already putting things in place to go and buy land, acquire land, and start with farming. Now, I would hire the locals, all the skills, especially in the ones that reside in the villages that struggle to get employment. They will be paid well. They will be paid 3, 4, 5 times the average person who makes a monthly salary or on the low income scale. When they work the land now, I will buy several acreage. Each worker, I will divide the land for each worker. That will be their major payment besides everything else. What that will do, that will solve two things, key things that they need. One, employment, a sustainable source of income, and also land tenure. Because we keep talking about education. But when people are destitute and there's no source of sustainable livelihood, they don't want to hear about education. If you cannot solve how they're going to live day by day, as Sister Homegirl here was rightly saying, you're wasting your time trying to get people to learn about education and read books. Education is second. The first thing is survival. And that is where many people are hitting a wall when they keep talking about education. Education is second. It's like this: when a baby comes into the world, the baby is not studying anything about education. All the baby is studying is to get clean water, food, nurturing. Survival comes first. So if we focus on creating jobs for our people first, I guarantee you, especially ones who are destitute, very poor, as the topic says, they will make time themselves to hear about education. They will make time to hear you out about re-educating them and focusing their mind on helping their people first. Because that's why they always go to other groups, because they're looking at it as, why you want me to help black folk when I was destitute? You weren't there for me. This white person, this Chinese person, they were there when I need them most. When I need somebody to help me most, they were there for me. You weren't there for me. This is a humanitarian aspect. If you want to drop out the race issue for a moment, just look at your own people as humanitarians. Like, here, what now? Hey, you're suffering. I have an opportunity for you to come out of it. So I will give you land. When you complete the contract, the time period, we go into the government and I'm going to lease the entire land, the whole rights to you, to you, to you, to you. So you have a means to take care of yourself,
Mr.
a
Hillary,
market to sell. Go ahead. My
bear with me a
apologies.
moment. Mr. Hillary, but we're not just talking about the continental Africans. You know, we're talking about the diaspora, people, you know, from the diaspora as well. so that
Oh,
you
yes,
also need to think
yes, yes,
about that.
yes.
You're focusing on the people who are in sort of poverty, like severe poverty, perhaps in Africa. But what about, for example, people in the US or the diaspora in Europe? There is an
I
issue
understand.
there as well. And
Correct,
as
correct.
we said, there's no single bullet. You may say that we need to focus on this first, but also you have those people on the continent who, they can provide food on the table, but that's as far as they can go. So what solutions also do you have for them? Other people may say, actually, if we can just give them that bit more education, perhaps they can move into these positions, and perhaps they can create businesses and then also employ those poorer people in order to improve their livelihood. So we must not think one dimensional, because then I feel like we run the risk of really losing the point. I really agree with what you're saying, and I really think it's valuable, definitely. But we must not just look at this single-handedly. I do want to bring in Simon to the stream to add on this point, or just with regards to this topic.
How you doing? You all right? Can you hear me?
Is it Simeon? Sorry, Simeon. Hello, welcome.
Oh, welcome. You're welcome. Yeah, you're right.
I'm good. How are you?
I'm not too bad, Just caught the stream as I'm heading out, but I'll just keep it very short. I just think the position that we're in, we've got to really. It sounds bad and it doesn't sound productive, but we got to start from basics. The solution is action. There's
Right.
a lot of us are doing a lot of talking. A lot of us have got a lot of knowledge and pretending to be silly, pretending to be stupid. We know the answers. Do you know what I mean? If you go to work and you walk, you pay your bills and you do this, you pay your bills. You look after yourself, but you always spend your last. You can't expect to get anything. Do you know what I mean? It's that saying that the Bible says you reap what you sow. Do you know what I mean? If you're not putting in, then how can you expect any returns? So realistically, we just need to follow a simple method. Sometimes we make things very difficult unnecessarily. Do you know what I mean? I mean, even if you save, say, £10 a week, yeah, at the end of the year, 10 English pounds, that's over £500 for the year. I mean, it's not going to be, this is just an example I'm using. It's not going to change all your financial condition, but you have to start somewhere. You got to build it up. You've got to look at your financial situation, or black people should look at their financial situation as if there was growing a plant. Yeah, because when you grow a plant, you got to look after the plant. You got to water the plant. You've got to make sure the plant gets light. So you got to make sure it's by the window. You got to make sure you don't overwater it. You got to look after it. You got to look after yourself. So there comes a time now, we're not as silly as we claim to be. We just don't want to put the effort in, and we need to put the effort in. Do you know what I mean? So the solution is just action, and putting yourself around the right company who people are instilling the action. Because when people are doing things that are not conducive to progress, the sheep type of people seem to follow that. So if you're hanging around with a person that's ambitious or looking to get on in life, do you know what I mean? You could get some influence off them. So your company is very vital. Do you know what I mean, in what you're doing? Also, when we get together, we should always get together and have, just like this, productive conversations. A lot of us, unfortunately, doesn't matter what the age range is, we talk a lot of rubbish. You know what I mean? We're not very serious people. So we've got to just change the basics. We've got to start with the basics. We've got to change the basics and then see from there. Because to set the example, other people are watching whether we realize it or not.
Yeah.
So to set the example, we need to start first. The ones with enough common sense need to lead from the front. That's the solution. That's the only solution. Not everybody's got the common sense, by the way. I realize that. But some of us have the common sense, but we're not prepared to put the effort in. We need to put the effort in. That is the
You've got,
solution.
you've
Action.
got, sorry, what you've said, I really understand it. You said like some of us were not willing to put the effort in, and there's this argument to say that Black people or the Black community, we are lazy. What would you say about that?
We're mentally lazy. We're mentally lazy only for ourselves, though, because if we're working for other individuals outside of our race, we jump through hoops for them.
Wow.
We will jump through hoops. If the hoops was on fire, we'll do circus tricks. We'll do circus tricks for them. So we're not lazy. Do you know what I mean? But for some reason, we lack immense self-belief. We haven't got the self-belief. We always think, you know what, that's too much for me. I can't achieve that. And sometimes we're worried about what other people think, which is the wrong thing to think. We're worried about, boy, what if I fail? Well, at least you tried. What about that? At least you tried. We are worried about sometimes showing off on the next Black brother or sister. All things that are not conducive to the movement and the progression. So we got to really, really analyze ourselves. And you know what I mean? Forget, if we could just do this, actually, this would be very beneficial. If we could just kind of split, the doers and the ones that don't want to do into two groups, we could get somewhere. We really could get somewhere, because sometimes we just keeping company or hearing from the unproductive ones, and it's just negativity. So all I would suggest to people is just literally put action into play. It might take a good while, but put it into play, because you only live once and you got nothing to lose if you're trying to aim for progress. What have you got to lose for that?
I don't think.
Do you know what I mean?
But yes, I want Simeon, if you stick around, I want to hear from the homegirl healer with regards to the argument saying that, because I've heard it time and time again. People would say that Black people are lazy, or why don't we have the energy and the drive to achieve what we need to achieve? What is holding us back? And so I want to hear from the homegirl healer.
Okay, yeah, I've got 5 minutes, no problem. So yeah, no problem.
I think part of why people think we're lazy is because I think a lot of times that stereotype. I know lots of hardworking Black people, like that's just not. I'm not saying that they don't exist, but I think part of it is stereotyping. And also we have to understand that everybody doesn't want the same things. Everybody doesn't operate in the same way. And so some people are fine to be at a particular station in life and be comfortable there. I think that, to me, like who is it that thinks that we're lazy? Is their opinion important? Does their opinion help our progress? If it's somebody who's not Black, I really don't care what they think about me. I'm going to keep it rocking and keep it rolling regardless. And everybody else I know is going to do the same thing. I don't care what you non-Black person telling me that I'm lazy. Are you serious? And I live in America and I know my history, so I know who built all of this.
I would say we are very hardworking, but
period. So a lot of times I think we care about people's opinions that we should not care about.
Totally agree. Thank you for that contribution. Can we hear from the African Chronicles, please?
Like, first of all, I can agree with almost everything. And like I said earlier, why are we still in that state? It's because to the mindset. Let me give you a personal history, a personal story in my family. I have one of my cousins. She's a woman, and actually she's a beautiful woman. She's tall, probably 5'9", 5'10", and very dark complexion. And that is the problem. Let me explain. Every day since she was a child, people were making fun of her because of her complexion. Every day since she was a child. Every single day. Guess what happened? She started to hate herself. She started to hate dark-skinned people. because of that. And guess what? The first thing she did, and I'm not exaggerating, she um, she got pregnant with the first, literally the first white man she could meet. Literally the first, not even a good one, but the first. You know why? Because she said, at least my kids won't be dark as I am, and nobody will make fun of them. See the power of the mindset? If I can induce your mindset into that kind of condition, it tells you everything. So again, the mindset has to be changed with the right person surrounding you, the knowledge. And again, to answer the person, if I'm dying of starvation, well, if you die of starvation anyway, there is no need for you to talk about this. You need to eat first. Nevertheless, the mindset has to be prepared a certain way. Like the brother said, yeah, at least try something. You know, when I start my journey in the labor work, in the labor, you know, I started with a low income, and I said exactly what the brother said earlier. I was saving 10 euros a week. That's not much, but at the start, you know what? It's called financial literacy. My parents thought they did whatever they could because themselves they could not teach me financial literacy because they didn't know themselves, but they taught me whatever they could about this. And sometimes I was not a good listener, I must say. Yeah, I was a bad student. My parents tried their best to guide me, but I was not willing to listen. See, that's another problem. I wasn't prepared, and when I hit rock bottom, I said, "Oh, maybe it's time for me to change my way of life and to seek different." And I started to save 10 euros a week for a couple of years before I start to go back to school, night classes, to have a better education, and then a better job, better income, and save more, and so on. And then I've been told, well, my brother, why don't you try to have different source of income? What do you mean? I got a job. Yeah, but what if you lose the job? What about having different source of income? Oh, you see, I've met the right person to try to stimulate me, make me understand that there are many ways to multiply your source of income. And here we are today. I applied this thing. It was hard. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's easy. It is not. It requires plan, sacrifices, hard work. Nevertheless, again, let me show you the book again. Let me show you the book again because this change the mindset. Black unlimited power, a black choice. Change the mindset. Once the mindset is changed, you're good because you're going to do whatever you can in your power to make a change because your mind is ready for it. As long as your mind is not ready for it, you won't do nothing. And see, look around you. Look at all the brothers and sisters. They have the condition. They're not dying of starvation, living in an apartment. They have a job. And look at them. Look at them. Look around you. See? Because they're not ready. They're not starving. They're not hungry. When you're hungry, you want to make a living. Believe me, you do whatever you can to make a change. Well, that's my 2 cents.
Yeah. I just wanted to say that you touched on financial literacy, which is a big problem within the Black community. So definitely, I think we need to find resources that help us with regards to financial literacy. So that's around money management, budgeting, investing. Investing for the future and how we can, get a return and how we can build a legacy that lasts, for generations to come. I just want to hear from Simeon because I'm mindful that he has to go. So my question really, and I just want all my panelists to also think about this, is what solution, because we're talking, what solutions are you bringing to tackle this issue? As I said, I'm mindful that Simeon has to go, so I just want him to speak on the topic.
Big up. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, can hear you.
Okay, then first of all, big up yourself. Yeah, big up yourself. Big up the brother that was just speaking, homegirl healer. All of these people that discuss these topics, big them up. I personally believe that you've got to sometimes look outside of the box for solutions. There's a saying I used to hear when I was growing up, and it was a saying that when If you want to hide something from a black person, put it in a book. Put it in a book.
I heard that too. Yep.
Yeah. So I think the situation for financial literacy shouldn't have a color. So what I'm trying to say, if you can get good information on how to manage yourself financially from a white author, whatever author, take that information, if it's positive, and implement it for yourself and what you need as a black person. Yeah. Because sometimes you won't get the proper information from your own, and you can get it out. You can get it from outside of your own people. For instance, if it's there, yeah, and just implement it in your life. Don't, think outside the box. Don't be so narrow-minded, and just try. Just try. It's like a baby taking steps. It starts crawling first, then it gets up, it falls over. It takes 1 or 2 steps. It probably needs, managing by one of the parents. And before you know it, it's running across, your living room. You can't stop it. So that is just how it is. I mean, I've known people that have helped me because I've seen them put like little, pieces into play as when it comes to discipline. I've known people that like any loose change that they had, example, they've put in a jar, put in a jar, put in a jar. And then the end of say 6 months or a year, they've changed that into paper money. And that would have been money that they would have easily could have wasted on any nonsense out there. Because one thing we've got to understand is we've got so much distractions. There's always the latest thing to come out to take our money, whether it's the latest phone, the latest car, the latest clothes. We got to learn discipline. Do you know what I mean? We've got to actually get to, and this does come to education. People don't want to hear it because education takes effort and discipline, but it comes to basic education. Do you know what I mean? Because what we're talking about now, the Asians, the Chinese, and the others, they've been implementing into their kids for years.
It's ingrained.
So we're late.
Ingrained.
We're late. And black people don't respect time anyway. If you say your platform starts at 9 o'clock, some of them are coming in whenever they feel like it. We need to realize, and that's one thing, time. We got to respect time, because we ain't got discipline when it comes to time. So if someone ain't got discipline when it comes to time is energy, and time is money. So stuff like that, we've never been taught. So we need to start from the basics, man. We really need to start from the basics. And I'm all for bigging up people that want to try. You know what I mean? That's why I phoned in, you see. Lady Visionary, respect. Because you know what? You know what I mean? Just keep at it, because the ones that persevere come through. You know what I mean? They come through in the end. So, shout out to all of yous, you know what I mean? And I'm sure we'll chat soon in African Superstars live chat or something. But yeah, just shout out to all of yous, man. And because I've got to go now. But all I say is, last point is, never stop trying. Never stop trying. You know what I mean? You should be trying and trying.
I just want you to answer this question.
Mhm.
What solutions are you bringing? What solutions are you bringing to the Black community to tackle this issue around poverty and wealth? I just want, even if you're just thinking about what your solution. I mean, you spoke about many things, but what are you implementing? Because I really want to, I want people to tell me what actions are they taking, and how we can learn from someone like you. What actions are you implementing? Because I don't just want to talk. I want to know,
yes,
what are you implementing?
Well, the actions I'm implementing, unfortunately at the moment, is on myself. But the action I wanted to implement is, years ago, I grew up around an era when they used to have a partner. They used to call it, the Jamaican people call it partner, where people, you would say to them, if you throw £20 in a week, yeah, say you put £20 say a week, at the end of the year, you would get something. You know what I mean? So I was basically trying to encourage people to save money in a group if they can't save money. Some consider it, some don't. So because some don't, I gotta do it myself. Yeah. So what am I doing? You should say I'm trying to set an example to show other people. that, you know what, it doesn't matter how long it takes, you know what I mean, have something to show at the end. And I'm still a work in progress. I haven't got to the end so far, but I'm a work in progress. So my main aim is, you know what, when someone says to me, well, how did you get to the continent then? Or how did you do this? I'll be able to tell them, because I'm still on a journey myself.
So basically, you're implementing financial discipline in order to save. Is that correct?
Yes,
For
because
purpose,
yes, because the end result is the continent. That's the end result. So I can't wait for other people to see if they're gonna join in. I've got to implement that, and then when I implement that, when someone comes and asks me, I say, you know how I did it? I save £20 a week, or save £30 a week. Some weeks I had good weeks. I saved £50 a week, but I still saved. And when I saved this much, you know what I did? I invested it, and then I got more, and then I went back. So the only thing I can do personally for myself is I've got to continue in my plan. I love to bring it. I love to include a lot of more people if they was interested, but I can't necessarily wait for that. So what I can basically say is I've got to implement that plan. I'm still on the journey of implementing that plan, and I've given myself a timeline, and I'm just gonna go ahead with it. And when I go ahead with it, we could come back and have the conversation again, and then I can say, you know what, Lady Visionary, this is what I've done, and I can give you bullet points of the steps that I took. And it's not to say that I'm trying to say this to believe I'm better than anyone or whatever, but I just have this mindset, whereas if I don't try, I'll get to be an old man saying, I coulda, woulda, shoulda. The youths don't want to hear that. The youths don't want to hear that. They're gonna say, why didn't you do it? Like, oh, you're a waste, man. You're a waste, man. Can't listen to you. So I've got to try and set the example. And when I set that example and it's there, then, you know what I mean, you could definitely say, well, I didn't just say I'm a doer, and there's the example there, and I can point to it. So that's my aim.
Oh, thank you, Simeon. I really appreciate your input and what you're doing. And as you said here on the platform, you are trying to exercise financial discipline for a bigger goal, because you've set yourself a target. And we look forward, in the future to hearing from you. So we'll hold you accountable. So thank you so much.
Yeah, you can hold me. Listen, you know what, Lady Visionary? I tell you, I hold myself accountable.
Exactly.
Because end of the day, I've got to live with myself. And as this is the last thing I'll say before I leave. I believe the ones that are conscious enough and sensible enough, I think we will kick ourselves if we just allow ourselves not to try our best. If we just gather all of this information and don't try to implement it, who in the end we got to blame? So I say, you know what, you might not achieve this year or that year, but if you're trying your hardest, you get closer to the goal, at least. I mean, no one can knock you for that, because in the black community, there's a lot of people not trying nothing. So at least you're trying something. So that's all I say to people, man. If you really believe in something, you know what I mean, your whole heart, just try. Nothing wrong with trying. It's not a crime.
Exactly.
And on that note, blessings and respect. Homegirl healer, enough respect. Brother there at the top, enough respect. Yeah. Lady Visionary, enough respect. African Superstar, enough respect. And all your other YouTubers. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you so much, Simeon. Thank you. Right. So you heard it from Simeon. As I said, he's exercising financial discipline, and it really takes a lot, I think, when it comes to financial discipline, because what we know that is a huge issue within the black community. We have so much money, the spending power, we have so much power, but we put it in the hands of the oppressors, as I've mentioned before. We love to look rich, but we're not rich. We love to look rich, but we're not.
Indeed. Yep.
This I think Simeon touched on the whole point of materialism. The materialism amongst the black community is just unbelievable. I know it's a problem across the board, but it shows the studies are showing that we are overspending in comparison to the other races, and they are investing their money while we are just spending our money then on things that give us no returns. So I just want to hear, another point actually is on the issue of education. When I was looking at the studies, and it was looking specifically, I was looking at America as well. America, the African Americans spend very little money on education. Nelson Mandela said, there's obviously a famous quote, I think a lot of you know it, is education is the most powerful tool that can change the world.
Exactly.
And I said it then, and I still believe it is relevant going forward. It is necessary going forward. Again, the Black community spends so little money on reading, but we can spend so much money on a fancy Gucci bag or a Gucci sunglasses and all these things that don't bring about change to our community, because it's going again in the hands of the oppressors.
Can I say something real quick? Because I see a comment that says, don't even think about stepping out the house without hair or nails freshly done. I'm gonna cut on my camera real quick because I always have, well, my hair is down now, but my hair is always done, and so are my nails. And this is a point that I want to make about how we can be making change. Support Black business. Both my loctician, who I've been going to for years and literally is the reason why I have these beautiful locks, is a Black woman, and she owns a business and she employs other Black women. My nail tech is a Black woman who owns her literal own business. So I'm not saying be consumerist, but if you are going to consume from Black people as much as possible. My husband loves sneakers. He loves them. He buys shoes from Black brand. He buys regular tennis shoes, but he buys shoes from Black brands. I buy jewelry and accessories from Black brands. You know what I'm saying? There are Black owned toilet paper companies. There are Black owned laundry detergent companies. There's a Black owned toothbrush company. There are Black owned companies that do everything. So if you are going to be a consumer, as much as possible, be a consumer in your community. If you want to, like, we've been talking a lot about education, and I would really love to see like our Pan-African scholars and our educators come together to create a curriculum for not even just for our children, but for all of us, so we can really learn our history and learn from it. Buy books from Black bookstores. There are Black bookstores who you can go online. I know in DC, one of them is called Mahogany Books. They're great. Buy books from Black owned companies. Read more. Encourage people to read. Maybe post about what you're reading. There are we have to stop putting our lens on how we approach things or think that there is one way to do it. Some of us are going to be consumers. I like nice things. I like my hair done. I like my nails done. I'm going to give that money to a Black woman. I'm going to give that money to somebody who looks like me. So if you want, that is a small action step that you can take.
Yeah. Homegirl Healer, I just wanted to say something on what you said. Being a consumer is not a problem, and I don't think you were saying it's a problem. It's about being strategic with the way that we spend. As you said that when you're doing your hair, when you're doing your nails, go to a Black-owned business, support a Black-owned business. In terms of education, read more, post about what you're reading. When it comes to our children, those of us again who have children, we should be educating them on the importance of reading. We should be reading books to our children. Amongst the Black community, I know that is an issue. What I try to do with my boys is read to them.
When new kids come into your family, help create a library for them. Every child should have a library. That is one of the things that my dad especially made sure that I always had something. Me and my sister always had something to read on hand. If it was books, if it was magazines, there was always something that I was reading, taking in information. It helped me to expand my vocabulary, all kinds of things. Learning how to, like, being a child and reading a book and maybe not understanding the word, but having to use my critical thinking skills to get the context of what it means based on the sentence. Read, read, learn, share information, because that's what, like, they don't, that's what they think that we don't do. They are counting on us to stay blind. They are counting on us to not educate ourselves about our history. And a lot of us are falling for it. A lot of us are out here for all of this, like, oh, like integrationist, love is love, all of that. We are out here for that. And that's not helpful to our community. We are just doing things, like, we are so programmed by being in the school system with that, and being in their school systems, that we equate like success with trying to be equal to them. There are so many like Black and African centered homeschooling curriculums for the Miseducation of the Negro by Carter G. Woodson. One of the best books I've ever read. I have it on my shelf. I will never not have a copy of that book on hand, because it's so true. It's so accurate. And how could a book be written that long ago and still be accurate?
Wow. It means there's the problem. There's still a problem. Why are we not getting it right? Why are we not? I mean, don't get me wrong. There has been progress, and now we're even seeing more of the Black community coming together. But I feel like we need to push that extra bit further. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So let's hear from Patrick, who's been with us. So just unmute your mic. Patrick, are you there?
Yeah, I'm there. No,
So
I'm going
anything that you wanted to add? Sorry.
Yeah, to be honest, African or Black people, we should really stop to be like talkers. We should be doers. We should not. Actually, these days, I think maybe even before we talk, and when you meet an African or Black person, they're very good. They have ideas. They have, and then you ask yourself, you're like, why then you're not implementing what you're telling me? That's really a problem, because trust me, wherever you're going to go, either in Africa, either in a countryside, in a village, you talk to even someone never been to school, when they are telling you something, you say, wow, that's a good ideas. But I think we lack this energy of motivation to take risks. We maybe we don't have people who are there to lead by example. That's why I always say that diaspora should really try to lead by example and do something, because it's been exposed. Coming back about education is that when we talk about education, it's not about going to universities and acquire some degrees, PhD and stuff. You actually, even now, we are in education. This is when I was at uni, it's about debates. These days, that's what they call it, education. You bring a topic, you sit there as a group, you discuss about it, and this is what they call education. Because I'm able to learn from you. You guys, you read, maybe you may read a book which I never read. You tell me about a few things about it, and that's what they call education. Because when you educate yourself, it doesn't matter. I know some people, when we talk about education, they think about maybe going to university. No, it's education. You can get education from your colleague, from your friend, from discussion. Like this debate is very, very useful, because when we ask ourselves why Black people are poor, then you see already the topic was asking a question, but you can see everybody is talking about why we are poor and come up with solution, even if maybe we are not even asked to say about those solutions. Because I believe some people, they argue to say, oh, education first, economy first. But I mean, economy first. How can you have money or access that economy you want or that business you want if you are blind? Yes, you need money, but you need to learn how to get money. That's part of education as well. So that's why, for me, to be honest, I am pro education. Yes, it doesn't matter. I'm not saying that if, for example, it depends of the, as I was saying, inequalities, the system, workplace discrimination, maybe neighborhood, you may not have that chance to go to uni or learn or acquire knowledge, but you can learn from here. And for example, we are learning, and then take, as my brother was saying, taking small. You may you may go for evening classes, take a course, learn about something. Do you understand? Or pay some fee about consultation, but where someone can teach you about maybe creating a business. To sum up, because I think I have to go soon, because tomorrow early in the morning I have a job to do. Otherwise, Lady Visionary is not gonna let me to leave again. But to sum up, for me, we need the mindset. Mindsets of Black people need to change, and we have to be engaging in this type of conversations rather than talking about lifestyle, because Black people, there's a topic, if you see on YouTube people talking about lifestyle, makeup, and so I'm not against that, but you can see many people are tuned in. But when you're talking about education topics and so on, something which can lift us, we are like we ignore that. We pretend we know. So I think this is the key. I hope this type of topics will be coming up, so where people can discuss about something which can be tangible and useful for our knowledge and for our information. Thank you and good night. Ciao, ciao, guys.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate your contributions, hubby. Take care and see you soon.
Okay, bye-bye. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Take care. Okay. So, wow. I think.
Can I say something?
Yes, of course.
Regarding the economic part, like the brother said earlier, when we talk about education, is not only academic education. Education is the way to acquire knowledge and or skills. So it could be anywhere: school, university, night classes, yourself, reading books, copying people, imitating people, whatever. So to have more literacy, well, read books. You know what? If I talk to you guys about stock market, a lot of people are going to say, "Oof, that's complicated. That's too rough. That's not for me." And you know what? I thought that way too. I said, stock market is complicated. That's not for me. It's for some kind of elite people. And guess what? I was saying, but if it's so complicated, why so much people put their money into the stock market? Why? So it's not that complicated. Probably not. So guess what? I read a book about it. A small book. Look, not even heavy. Look,
Wow.
The Beginner's Guide to the Stock Market.
Oh wow.
So you know what? I jumped into it years ago. I started to try to analyze and understand, to remove all the mystery around the stock market, and I realized that's not so complicated. So I invest. In stock market. Instead of buying Nike shoes, I bought Nike shoes in stock.
Wow.
You see the difference? I bought Nike shoes. You see, I love to go to cinema, watch the Avengers, Spider-Man movies, and all that. You know what? I say, what? Hold on. Disney, they sell shares, so I bought Disney share. Now I'm part of it. You go to cinema, go watch the movie. Go ahead, make me rich. See? That's the thing. You need to learn how does it work. If you don't know, you're ignorant. That's not the problem, but you don't know. And then since you don't know, you're scared. You say, no, that's not for me. But once you understand the basic, you don't even have to be an expert. You need to understand the basic. You understand the basic, you're good for a start. And invest my money into a lot of stuff. That's the reason why I could buy myself a house so easily, because it took time. It takes times. You have to think long term, not short term. It doesn't work this way, people. Be patient.
And I think that's one of the challenge with regards to the Black community, is that we think very short term, here and now.
Exactly.
But we need to change our mentality and think more for the long term.
Exactly.
Solutions. That's what we need. We do have, I think it's Renel in the backstage, and we just want to bring him in and hear what he has to say regarding, or she has to say regarding, this particular topic.
Hi guys. Thank you. Hi, Lady Visionary.
Hi,
And
how are you?
hi, the African Chronicles.
Hi.
Though I don't know your name, but I think I saw one of your lives before. So this is the first time that I'm interacting in this on platform YouTube lives that is happening around the wokeness, Black wokeness. There are a few lives happening about that, from Wede Maya to all the way through the Afro-Philo to Investir au Pays. So I think there is a like, I want to acknowledge that it is very good that you guys have brought that there is a broader, a larger broadcast of this type of discussion on this entertainment platform that is YouTube. So now that I've done my acknowledgement to the question itself, the question is, why are Black people remain poor? I want to phrase it in another way and to say, why are people in general remain poor? The way I understand it, like I have kind of a systematic mind, so I'm going to like go step by step and break the ideas. I think you are poor when you desire more than what you produce. So the thing that you need to sustain your livelihood may cost 10,000 whatever units, and you produce only goods that are worth 5,000 whatever unit. So the output of your work is valued less than the stuff that you need. And unfortunately, in nowadays societies, it is very hard to produce all the things that you need on your own, unless you live like an hermit, isolated in some mountain or some island where you control the nature and everything. And it's also a good lifestyle, and it's also an acceptable lifestyle. So I'm not saying that it is bad, but we people who are like in cities, in countries where urbanization is strong, where we depend, and urbanization means that we depend a lot on networks. Like we don't even realize it. We depend on electricity network, we depend on water network, we depend on transport network, we depend a lot of network. So that is the fact that makes that we cannot, and nobody can on its own produce everything that it needs. So whatever you are producing as a work, you have to make sure that it can the value is greater than the value of the stuff that you will need in the market. Okay. So when you are poor, it means that you cannot do that. So in general, there are two things that you can do. Either you produce more of whatever you are producing. So if you're a broadcaster, a media company, you just do more media in order to attract more announcers and make more money. You make more TV shows if you're a TV or whatever. If you're a teacher, you try to make like more classes, like maybe you give like afternoon classes to students. So you can just try to say, okay, I'm going to produce more. The problem to that, and there's another strategy, at least there are many, but I want to classify them into two cases. Either you produce more, or you make sure that whatever you are producing is valued more. Right? So you sell it for a higher price. So there's these two ways. Either I produce more and I sell at the current price, or I produce at the same quantity, but I sell at the higher price. So I use some tricks to make it look better, for like some marketing and whatever. The first approach is to say, in my mind, is to say that I think Black people and in general poor people already do that. I think they work to the extension of themselves. Like they work to a degree, like, and my voice is a bit shaking also because like it's the first time I'm doing this, but also because I come from quite a poor background.
Please, can I just stop you? Please just feel comfortable so that we can, we're all here to learn. We all want to hear from each other. So don't worry. It's your first time, I understand, but it's okay.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, try to be calm.
Okay, yeah, I'm just trying. Yes, I am. Thank you so much. So I was saying that yeah, I'm going to like get more comfortable. I hope. Um, but I also come from like communities where I've seen like poor people, and these people are not lazy people. Like they are doing hard work. They are working to the extension of themselves. So if they are working to the extension of themselves and that the production is still not up, what is the problem? And the problem that I've realized is that we work only with organic machines. Organic machine, all the work is done by machines. Organic machines is us, for example. We are made of carbon, so we are organic machines. Not because we are made of carbon, but we are organic machines because we are alive. Everything that is alive is like organic, and everything that is not alive is like inorganic. So in the other communities, the other people, not just black people, the other people who are not poor, actually have some of their work done by machines. So there is a lot of manufacturing involved in that, right? So, for example, if you are producing tables, a poor person will be doing all the work with his body, his hands, and maybe he has two alcoholics. Whereas somebody who is doing the same tables but who is not poor has machines that does it, like IKEA, for example. I'm not sure if I can say brands, but IKEA, for example, is also making tables, but they are making way more because they have machines. So the thing that we can do then is to say, okay, first maybe we have to go into manufacturing. When you say that to people, people tell you like, well, manufacturing costs a lot of money, so first you need money, whatever. But there is something called light manufacturing. So there are very simple way to start to automate whatever you are doing. So this comes back to like educating yourself. Like you need to know where to get this information. And I guess like if you use internet, if you're on this platform, then you can like use internet to try to automate or to have a machine do some part of your work so that you can gain in productivity. That's what they call productivity economists. The other approach is to say, well, I'm going to sell more, to sell at a higher price. And that approach, like, I don't really understand how it works. I have no experience in that. I have more experience in the manufacturing part. But the other approach is also plausible. I hear that people are making brands. For example, the sister who came here and said that, well, it doesn't matter if you are a consumerist, you have to be a consumerist for black brands. I know that right now I have friends that are in businesses and they are pushing this advertisement for buying black business, and they are making more money with that because it is a marketing push, right? So they are producing the same and they can improve the price of their product, right? And then people are buying their stuff at a higher price because we are making conscious decision that we are going to buy in black businesses, even if it is pricier. And I have friends who are making more money off that. It's not, meanwhile, they were already making a profit, right? So this is another strategy. And also, like it is normal. Some can say, well, you are bidding against the community, but it is business, so you have to compete. So if there is an opportunity, you use the opportunity. So right now, everybody like putting forward that you are black in your business is very good to attract black customers. This is like a period for that. But that part of it, I don't really know it. I really know a bit about the part that I have experienced is the part about introducing some manufacturing, some systematization in what you are doing. And that's what I wanted to propose, like these two approaches. Either you have some machines that are helping you produce more of the stuff that you're producing, or you find some strategy to sell whatever you're producing at a higher price.
Thank you so much, Renel, for your contribution. What I wanted to say is that obviously on the continent there is the challenge of, and this is the argument that comes up time and time again, is that we in African countries, the manufacturing department is lacking in Africa, and that's where we need to bring that in and also create jobs. So that's a big challenge on the continent that also needs to be addressed.
Yes, I agree. And the experience that I have actually is an experience that has happened in the continent. I'm from Cameroon. I'm a Cameroonian, so I'm from the continent. I live now in Montreal. I've been living here for 2 years only. So when this and this I've had this type of thinking because of the recent like wave of Black awareness and wokeness that I've seen with the way that like people could just get killed in the streets. And okay, so I'm in Canada, so does not yet happen much here, but this has awoken me like 1 or 2 years, like 2 years before when this started. When I got aware, when I got awareness of it, because I was not getting awareness of that, and then I started to think business. I started to say, okay, Renette, you need to like make sure that you make some money, and you make more money for yourself. And I got this idea of manufacturing, and it actually worked. And it worked in very simple ways. It works in things like you cannot even realize it. Maybe you are sending money to somebody's home. Maybe they are selling. In my situation, these were people who were making condiments. So they were going to the market and buying like herbs and then grinding it with the stones. If you have been in Africa, you know that on the mainland, maybe also in the diaspora it happens. But this person that I knew in my experience, she was doing every day. She will go early in the morning in the market. She will buy the condiments and then she will grind it and put it in little cups and go and sell the grinded condiments to women who will then use it easily in their cooking. Right? So she will kill herself like 3 hours in the morning, and that's not the only job that she has to do, because then she has to take care of all the kids that is at home. And in our experience we work, from time to time she was blocked because she had to ask us for help and to complete her things. And what we realized that we could send her a grinding machine. A grinding machine is really something that we buy like very cheap. I bought it here in a very, very, very cheap thing, like very, very cheap price. Like I bought it in not in retail price, like prix d'usine. I don't know how to say it in English. Like factory price, right? And we bought it. We send it back to her. She now uses the machine to do the work, so she can grind more things, right? And on top of that, we bought many copies of the grinding machine, and we gave some of them to technicians back home to like understand how these things works, and if they are able to reproduce similar stuff like that. So it is a little machine. It is a machine that grinds stuff. So it is a grinder. You put stuff inside, it grinds it. It works with a motor and it needs electricity. So this is what we call light manufacturing. So it is really light. And a lot of us that in the diaspora send money back home can actually propose this to the people that we support. And we can say, okay, well, what is your work? Maybe then we can think of a machine that we can give them that will help them to just produce more and make more money in the market. And that way, at least in the situation that in only that case, it has improved her livelihood, like not dramatically, but she feels she's like, she told me she was very like in the groups that we are doing that, she was like saying, okay, like this, it's a bit cliche, but I mean, it is true. So it is there is I don't know how to say it, les rentrées. Kids are going back to school. So she was like, okay, this year I do not need to ask you for money for books for my kids because I have that. And I'm like, and we're like, okay, we were very happy. Just to finish this and then like let the floor, maybe answer a question if I'm asked. This enterprise is still done in a family way. Like we are doing it in connections with people that we knew. So it is not yet like a company that we are running, like the people with who I'm doing this. But this model has potential to be like adopted by as a company, and we are seriously thinking about that. Like help business people, black poor people to like introduce machinery in their workflow. This is what I wanted to propose.
Okay, thank you so much for your contribution. Really, really appreciate that. We are going to bring
You're
in the African Chronicles, and then Jamal. I know you're there listening in. I believe the African Chronicles, he is about to leave us soon, so he's going to make some final points before he leaves us. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you very much. And again, thanks for having me in this show. Very interesting, very enlightening. So I'll be back for more for sure. It's a pleasure to talk to you guys. But my conclusion is very simple. You know, the brother just gave an example. When you start a business, you have to start small, and you put strategy and try to grow step by step. You don't have the means to buy a machine. Try to buy at least one machine, analyze the machine, do reverse engineering, and try to build the machine itself until you make more money, and then buy a new machine and so on. So it's a process. It takes time. It takes discipline. It takes energy. If we want to move forward, you need to follow those footsteps. I show you earlier, guys, a lot of books that you can inspire from. All the information. Let me repeat it again. All the information. Let me say it again. All the information are in these books. So please take the time to read it, to digest them, to analyze, talk about it to friends if you don't understand, and put in place the strategy to apply those things. We can make it. Let me give you an example. Like I told you earlier, I start to read books about stock market to understand the way it is. And now, you know what? I don't even buy Nike. Don't get me wrong. I love nice shoes. I do. But I say I will invest first in those companies that make a lot of profit, and then later on, I will have the fruit of this effort. You see, so it requires the time, energy, but strategy and patience. Don't think you're going to make a change the day after tomorrow. It takes time. So be patient, but put on the work. Put on the work, it's going to work. Thank you very much for having me. I really got to go, but always is a pleasure to have you around here
Thank
and talk to you
you so
guys.
much. I do appreciate all your contributions. Seriously, it's been really valuable for us here on the platform. And I hope that those of us who are listening in and who will come in to listen later on when we finish can really take something from this, because it's really been valuable. Thank you so much. And even some of the books that you recommend, I myself will be reading one or two of those books. So thank you so much, and have a good evening.
Thank you. Have a good evening. See you around.
Take care now. Bye bye. Right, I'm just going to bring in Jamal. So if Jamal, yes, your mic is unmuted. Welcome.
Peace, peace, peace. Good talking to you again. How you doing today?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing good. I just
Nice to have you.
came back into the chat maybe not too long ago. So if I touch on anything that somebody already spoke on, I apologize. But to piggyback off the discussion, why do black people remain poor? I'm pretty sure people already touched on, white supremacy, racism, colonialism, oppression, degradation, and things of that nature, but the effects of all that is still prevalent today because, there's a myth out there that we don't support black businesses. We do support black businesses, but the problem that we have is we are less forgiving of black businesses. Meaning, if I go to a chicken restaurant and they have nothing but drums and I want a leg, I say I make an excuse to say this is why I can't support black businesses. But if you go to McDonald's and they mess up your order every week, you keep going back. And see, this is why the lack of trust plays a role in the reason why we are poor. Because when we have that mindset, that business cannot grow, and then we remain in poverty. We remain the same stage in which we are. So we just, post traumatic slave disorder is real. Post traumatic colonial disorder is real because we just look at white people as the gold standard for honesty, for sincerity. I'm gonna tell you something. White people are the biggest actors on the earth because white people, they are friendly, they are nice, they are loving, but that is an act. You know what I mean? They have perfected have smiling in your face and backstabbing you. You know what I'm saying? That's not to be disrespectful to all the Europeans out there, but let's call it as we see it. So once we begin to have more trust among each other, you know what I'm saying, that will eliminate a lot of the poverty that's going on. I know you in the UK, I'm pretty sure that the circumstances you're dealing with in the UK is similar to what we're dealing with in the US. I'm pretty sure what we're dealing with in the US, the same thing somebody in Cameroon might be going to. You know, one thing I noticed about racism and white supremacy is the same system globally.
Yes. So, you know, we definitely touched upon a lot of the root causes of poverty or poverty within the Black community. So, what solutions? I mean, you mentioned mindset, but what else would you say? And on the back of that, how are you contributing to this solution?
That's a loaded question. You know, I think the
Okay, so first of
the
all, you know, okay, what what's another solution aside from the mentality? Because you spoke about the mentality, so
mhm.
we just really want to think about the solutions.
Okay. I think, one, they said insanity is trying the same thing and expecting different results. So one, we gotta have different missions out there. It's not all about voting, and I'm not telling people not to vote, because voting is important, but the problem is people acting like voting is the only solution. You know what I mean? And two, it takes the work. One, I'm gonna tell you something that a lot of us don't like to hear. One
Yeah.
of the biggest problem that we have as a race throughout the globe is we don't want to be accountable for our own actions. As much as I bang on white supremacy, racism, oppression, colonialism, which is all valid, which is all need to be talked about. There's certain things that we have to take a look in the mirror and say, what are we doing wrong? Until we change that, we will forever be behind as a society. Because one thing white supremacy and racism is not doing, they're not telling you not to pick up that book when you wake up in the morning. They're not telling you to litter your own community. Even if you can't read, we got technology these days where you can talk to Siri, teach me how to read, and they would teach you how to read. So there's no discussion. So a lot of it comes down to self-education. And once we get better educated, we're gonna be able to do um be more financially mature. Because we got a lot of financial information out there. But a lot of time we don't take advantage of it. A good friend of mine who's a financial expert. People complain about he charged for his classes, but when he gives out the free material, people don't pay attention. They don't do the work. So the information is out there. There's too much information out there for us to remain poor in today's society.
So do you think we need to do better, basically?
Oh yeah, no doubt, and without a question, because we are in the year 2020, and we all know about racism now. This Black Lives Matters movement going on everywhere on this planet. I was watching the film right there in the UK about the Black Lives Matter. And of course, it's going on in the States. I know South Africa have Black Lives Matter. So we know what the root problem is. So what are we doing? It's funny that we blame, you know, I heard a saying one time that we are the only people who blame 99% of our problems with white people, but do 90% of our business with them. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So it's just ironic that we keep blaming the system and keep blaming white supremacy, but we continue to go to them for everything. Like me, for example, you know, I take it upon myself once a week to study myself. Literally, I schedule in my calendar life improvement. What could I do? What could I read that could improve my life? Whether that means financially, as a person, emotionally. I just like to study to better myself. I always make sure whoever I study is from a black author. I always make sure I always make sure if I watch a video is from a black content creator because we gotta have trust among our people. I remember one time I was trying to help a friend get to the States, from Africa, and that's a long process. And we found all these white lawyers here in the state, and I made it my duty to find a black lawyer here in the States. Even if that black lawyer doesn't work out, try to find another black lawyer. We have to put trust among one another in order for us to prevail globally.
Okay, thank you so much for your contributions. Please do stay put for us. Don't go anywhere.
Okay, cool.
Let's hear from. Sorry, let's hear from Marvin. Marvin is here.
Okay, cool.
Hello and welcome, Marvin. Where have you been hiding? Sorry, let's hear.
How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. How are you?
I'm good. I've just been busy with work and I just happened to jump on, let's say 15 minutes ago.
Oh,
So
wow.
I probably missed out on a lot. But it's good to see you guys, keeping strong and following up on things. And I love the topic, actually. Why do Black people remain poor? There are just numerous reasons. My input on it is that we don't understand money. We don't understand the use of money. We don't even understand the foundation of money and the economic system and why money was created. So to bundle it all up, that's lack of education. In order for us to, not be poor, we need to understand the history of money and, the uses of it. Because a lot of us try to save. Money was not made to save. It was made to work for you. Remember the saying that our elders used to say, man make the money, money doesn't make the man. So we still don't even understand that. Even when you look at the word currency, it has to move like a current. You have to make it move. Keeping it in your bank account will not do anything for you. The interest that the bank's giving is not that much. But you still have people that will want to say, oh, I want to put money in my bank and say, yes, you can save. I'm not saying that's wrong. But by right, money is made for you to invest. It's a tool. It's not for you to put on like an ornament on your desktop or anything like that. And we try to stay away from understanding it. I don't know if it's a fear or laziness, but for me, I would say laziness for most people. Now, as the brother was just saying a while ago, that he tends to read from Black people or Black books, if I'm correct. That's where we're wrong. We have to read from the whites and the Chinese. Chinese were the one who invented currency. Go research it. That's where money came from.
So are you saying that we should not only, it's not wrong to read from the Black books, but not only to read from the Black books, but we should have a variety. Is that correct?
That's correct. You have to read from.
He's absolutely correct. And I agree with him. I wasn't necessarily saying not to read the material. I'm just saying that from a confidence standpoint, but we have to study our enemies. So you are correct that we have to study them as well.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you as well, brother. When I was growing up, I used to, watch a lot of people just tell me, oh, why you have to read books from our Black leaders. At 13, I started reading from Robert Kiyosaki that taught me about money, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. A lot of people should read that book. Because when I was growing up, my family told me money was the root to all evil. And after reading Robert Kiyosaki's book, it said the lack of money is the root to all evil, which is perfectly true. You understand? We see things in reverse. A lot of people will see the problem. Some people will see the solution. This is why you have to determine now who you are. Just like you just said a few minutes ago, you study yourself. So when we now become conscious of ourselves and we start reading and learning about investment strategies, simple little things that we can learn to see what it is and copy what is our competition does. What it is that the Jewish people do, what it is that the white people do, what it is that the Arabs do, the Asians do. Because you have to keep your eye on the enemy at time. Yes, in life, our parents have told us, do not look at other people. But you still have to look at them to see what they're doing, as you just said, to study the enemy. You see, it's right there in our eyes. But again, I think it's like this laziness. Because if you ask people, and I'll repeat again, where did currency come from? They'll say, oh, it's white people money. No, they copied it from Chinese. This is why right now the Chinese is kicking their ass. America was built by black people, but it's owned by Chinese. Why? Because they invented currency and they understand it. When you understand the system, you know how to bend it. Even Malcolm X told us back in the days when he was preaching, he said, listen, it's better to seek forgiveness than seek permission. So the Chinese, what they did was understand the American system, they hustled them, and now they're just on a good road of saying, hey, time to seek forgiveness. Let's have a little trade deal or an agreement or whatever they're doing right now. And this is a problem with us black people. We need to understand money. We need to discuss it with our children. We need to stop doing this thing of where we just want to save and learn how to invest. There are numerous ways that you can invest, and if you want the knowledge, you can find it. So one of the things a few things I could jot down for solutions: learn about doing stocks and bond investments, whether you can buy dividend stocks. Dividend stocks, you get paid every quarterly or every 3 to 4 months. You can get a bunch of stocks, and money, once you buy that stocks, money will be going into your account, every 3 to 4 months. Depends on how much you put, you get a percentage of it. You just go on YouTube and you can sit down and you can learn about dividend stocks. It's not nothing hard to do. You do it first as a hobby, because that's how people make money. Your hobbies, you start looking to make your money work for you as a hobby. If you try to do it to make it the end of your day or the beginning of your day, you're not going to become successful in this thing, because it's a trial and error. Because we're living in a situation where a lot of us, our ancestors or our elders has failed us in that section. We've been failed big time. This is why we remain poor. We keep following the same protocols, the same strategic method of living that our ancestors, well, not all of us, but most of our ancestors who failed now, who failed us in the past, that's who we are following. How many black people are still doing insurance? A lot of black people, they eat bad. They know they're going to die by the time they're 45 and they have no insurance. If you know you're going to, you're not eating healthy, at least leave a little insurance for your family. I have white friends, when their grandmother die, they end up with 100 and something grand and they divide in it. Then granny leave the house for them as well and they're good. Black people die. It's like we have to go and pay for the funeral of our grandparents and then we still have nothing.
Yes.
Yeah. We have to challenge these things, we have to put it into our family members now. Listen, you reach 45, go get this insurance, do something. If not, you'll have to bury yourself. Good luck.
No,
It's funny you touch on that, because I was just having a discussion with somebody a week ago. Here's a sad reality for everybody in the chat, everybody on the panel. Y'all gonna die someday. Period. That's just life. We all gonna die. And I just find it ironic, despite the fact that we know the end will come one day, we don't take 5 minutes out of our time to write a will. 5 minutes. There's so many programs out there. I'm tired of people passing away if they stuff is not organized. They stuff is given up to the states, to the city, to the government, because they just can't take 5 minutes to say, this goes to that person. This goes to that person. Even when it comes to life insurance, you can get life insurance for as little as $9 a month. But people are not getting that. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of times our kids got to start from scratch because we are being irresponsible when it comes to finances, when it comes to long-term solution for our children and our great grandchildren. So you hit it right on the nose with that, brother.
Thank you. And might I add as well, we need to also keep an eye on our spending habits. Always keep an eye on your money. Certain things we buy is a liability, and certain people we buy from are liabilities. And once again, what I'm repeating, it's been around since the 60s, 70s, when people like Malcolm X were saying that you go into a black neighborhood and you see everyone opening a store there. If they're opening a store there, we're supposed to be dedicated enough to make the sacrifice to still not buy from them, because the things we are buying from them is killing us anyways. When you go buy the Chinese food, the KFC, the McDonald's, you're just paying them to weaken you. You are what you eat. We need to remember that. That's what Kwame Nkrumah said to us years ago. Everything is there. The data, the information is there. It's just that we just refuse to learn. We refuse to sit down, okay, review our past, see where the mistakes was, and create a structure. Because Black people, if you go into at least 90% of the houses, Black people don't have a structure, a financial structure. How many within the Black homes, like my brother was just saying he does reading, how many families within the Black home have books that their kids can read and then say, listen, when I was your age, this is what I tried, this is what I did, now you can try this or you can try that. So we have no library. Look at white people's house. They always keep a library. They keep the data there. Why do you believe the Queen stole everyone's artifacts in Africa? That's a library. That's how you get data about your ancestors. You understand? So you need to have a library at home so that the kids can at least inherit that. We don't have to, leave our kids, the big houses. There's just simple little tools you need to leave your kids so that now that family now can generate this wealth. They can work for it. Because once again, I'll repeat, and I keep telling people this, access is more important than money. When Warren Buffett dies, he says he's going to make sure that his kids doesn't get a cent. Look at the prince the other day that got married to this mixed race girl. They decided to leave the royal platform. Because why? Access is more important than money. You can make one phone call, someone is there to help you, introduce you to someone, and you're in business. And this is the things that we need to create. You need to create that structure to teach your kids these things. They're not supposed to be going to sit down and listening to strangers telling them these kind of things. And because we don't have that structure, we're pawning our kids. So this is what's going on in Africa right now. Africans are leaving the continent to what? To move to England, to move to America, to play the chess game and be pawns. They can stay right home and make money and survive. But because they don't understand the economic structure, they become cowards. It's a mental game. So when we leave those protocols to our family, immediately, we will have a structure, a very strong structure for solid foundation. Because even Marcus Garvey said it, if you're not confident in yourself, then you're twice defeated in the race of life. And as I just said, in most of the Africans, they're not confident. They're not confident mentally about the education system and about themselves. And this is why we'll continue remaining poor as long as we're not rich mentally with the structures of life, with learning about money and how to educate ourselves. We will always remain poor. So we need to input these solutions, which is very important. Read from the white people, read from the Chinese, read from Black people as well. And you create a structure that works for you, that works for your family, because every Black person poverty level is different. Every Black person's struggle is different. So you have to mold something for yourself. You're in a different part of the world, you come from a different tribe, you have a different problem, but you might have something to work with that I don't have, or you might have something that to work with that somebody else don't have. But there's only one way for you to become out of the financial pressure, the financial zone, is by being consistent and educating yourself. And again, these are the things that we don't do. I don't know if it's laziness or what. It's a difficult situation, very, very difficult.
Yeah, I think it's a challenge, but again, I feel like things are changing. We are coming together. We're starting to learn more. We have got platforms like this. We have people like yourself and Jamal and other panelists who've come and given us some really valuable points that we can take away. And earlier we had another panelist here who said that education as well is not just about going to the universities, but it's having even this type of platform that people like yourselves are able to give us valuable information and solutions. And it's really about us and what we want to take away from it. Do we want to go away and just repeat the same patterns day in, day out and still get no results generations after generations. As you said, like we need, as the Black community, need to organize our things. Like, I think Jamal touched upon this as well. Like, not organizing our insurances, not leaving anything behind, not leaving any sort of inheritance behind, so that would help the next generation, and so on and so on. I do want to hear from Jamal. Thank you so much, Marvin. I really appreciate your input, but just want to hear from Jamal if he has any last words to say.
First and foremost, I would like to say, keep up the great work, because one thing I like about your platform is you are consistent, and believe it or not, you are on your way. As long as you remain consistent, as long as you remain humble, you got a lot of great potential inside of you. And I'm looking forward to continue to support you in your endeavors. As far as the you know, our economic goals, we just have to, it comes down to unity, period. It's a word that we use a lot, but do we actually practice? What I mean? We have to actually put it into practice. We have to study. We have to make sure that every penny counts. My grandmother, she passed away about 3 years ago. I remember when I was walking her home, and right in front of her door, there was a penny on the ground. And right before she went inside, she was like 80, she was 82, 83 years old. She bent all the way down and made sure she picked up that penny. And that just taught me a lesson. Like, you know what? She values every penny. This woman has money, but she made sure she picked up that penny. We have to value that penny. We have to invest in every single thing that we earn, and we have to do something constructive when it comes to our economics. And we got to stop being so trusty of our enemies, and we know who our enemies are. What I mean? Like I said, we are talking about the issues, we are talking about the problem, but what are the solutions, like you brought up? It's time that we stop talking. It's time to put in work. It's time to lead with our feet instead of our mouths.
That's right. I definitely agree with what you're saying with regards to actions, and that's why, I could have put the topic of why Black people remain poor, but I did say, like in the beginning, before we started off this topic, was that yes, we're looking at the causes, but also we're addressing the solutions. And it's not just about talking here today. I really want each and every one of us to actually think about how we can implement the solutions going forward. And that doesn't exclude me. I'm also thinking about what can I do? What more can I do? I'm definitely working on my strategy, and I at the moment I'm in the UK, but I'm going back to Rwanda very soon, and continue to implement what I was doing on the ground. So definitely I have my strategy in place, and just by the grace, hopefully everything will work out, because I'm someone who, I don't believe in just talking. I've spoken, I've written down strategy on paper, been like, right, now is the time to actually do. And that's what I'm encouraging every single one of you who are, who is listening to this live right now. It's been very informative, but at the same time, like, moving forward from today, what are you going to do to implement solutions to change the ongoing narrative? What will we do to change the narratives for ourselves and for generations to come? So Jamal, I thank you so much for your input. I really appreciate that. You take care now, and we'll catch up again. Please do come back.
Yes, ma'am, I will. You take care. Have a good night.
And you take care now.
All right.
You take care. So, Marvin, did you want to say any final words? I'm just going to, before you do that, I'm just going to send the link out again. If anybody wants to come in and say some final words, who, maybe you were listening in and you just wanted to say something regarding this topic, I'm putting the link out there to give you an opportunity to really just come in and share anything with us that you think would be valuable to our community. We need to be brave enough to bring forth solutions, and that's what my platform is really about: coming together, uniting, and bringing the information to the forefront so we can learn from every single person that's out there in terms of how can the Black community move forward, how can we change the narrative. So let's hear from you, Marvin, the final words as we're about to close.
For my advice and final words is that create a routine. Have a plan. Write it down on paper. Change your diet. I mean, you are what you eat. Change it. Okay? People might say, oh, it's expensive. No, it's not. Sometimes it's better to just eat nothing, drink water, than, eat the rubbish, because you want to have a clear mind, clear thought. Pinch pennies and sit down and learn about investing, learn about making your money work for you, because we're living in a time where a lot of us, we trade our time for money when it needs to be the reverse. So learn, the true values of money. Don't be selfish. Do things that, that when your grandchildren will say, well, you know what, granny or grandfather did this for us. You don't want your grandchildren to be born into this world, I always say, and they want to curse you. So put some investments. Don't be stingy. Don't be greedy. Do it for them. But also, when you create your routine, your kids will learn it, they will understand it, and they will be happy for it. And that's how you'll have a secure family as well, because you want to make sure that you have group security. When you're building your wealth and your family around and people around you see, they will come to you, because one thing I've understood with Black people, they like to see first. You understand? If you go and express the vision to them or the dream, they don't have time for it. But when they start seeing the results, they just pop up. So when you create that routine, you find what works for you, and then you make sure you stick to it. Don't trust no one, because freedom is different for everyone. What I might consider to be freedom, you might not. So you cannot trust anyone. Even when you look at the past elders, they had problems. Martin Luther King had problems with Malcolm X, because what Malcolm X saw as freedom, Martin Luther King did not. So you as a common person have to understand that you can disagree with the other common Black person that lives next door to you. But you still have to make sure that you focus on securing yourself and protecting yourself and your family, because you need to have that specific circle to help you grow. Yes, you can grow alone, but it'll be difficult. Group security helps you grow faster. So key thing, don't trust anyone, create that routine, keep books, leave it for your kids. Because at the end of the day, you and I, we might not be able to afford private school, but the books will be there and the books will help. Get the books from the white people, get the books from the Black brothers. You need to learn how to, protect ourselves and also invest. So when we get the key books and so we pass it on, we'll make it. And we can change things slowly but surely. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Marvin. I really appreciate it. Every time you come, actually, I was like, oh, I haven't heard from Marvin for a long time. I'm guessing he's busy. So
Yeah,
it's just, it was really nice to see you pop up and support us here today. Thank you so much.
Okay, you take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much. Take care now. Bye-bye. Right. So again, as I said, we're wrapping up. And I'm giving the final opportunity for anybody who wants to just come in and say any final words. Please do go ahead and support the stream by liking, giving a big thumbs up, especially if you thought that we discussed some really valuable points today and you found it useful. Don't forget to share the stream, because there'll be lots of other people who can take away something from this. So, you've got Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, you name it. Please, please, please share this stream. It's so valuable. I think all the panelists and also those of you in the comment section made some very important points that need to be heard. And this is a platform where, you know, we come together, we learn from each other, and it's not just about talking here on this platform. We really want to see, you know, our supporters, you know, and everybody here, we really want to see you implementing the strategies in order for the Black community to move forward. And so many of you I know would have come later on, but you're going to need to start at the beginning, because you missed a lot. And there's so much that you can take away from this. And, you know, even if you have to take notes, take your book and your pen and take notes, and, you know, look over it so that you don't forget those key points that were discussed, and also, you know, you can implement those. So thank you guys so much for, you know, taking the time and being with me here today. And, you know, the support has been amazing. I get so many emails, and I really do appreciate it. I do try my best to get back to each and every single one of you. So again, thank you so much. Please don't forget, as I said, to like the stream and also share it. It's very, very important for me here on the platform and helping to grow my channel. Also, I just want to say that it's my birthday on the 18th of September. So, and I'm still on the road to achieving 2,000 subscribers. So again, if you can support me by just sharing, it's free. And if any of you out there want to make a donation to support my projects, such as the Africa Rising Investment Funds, I will put that on the screen so you guys can see. You know, you can, as I said, support via the GoFundMe page. I'll put that up again on the screen, or you can go ahead and support this live stream via PayPal. Thank you guys so much, and have a good evening. I really, seriously, it's been amazing. Thank you guys. I really appreciate that. You guys take care now, and all the best. See you in the next one. Take care.